Here we go. It's up there. 39. Iran. There were, ut super demonstratimus, as demonstrated above, legiones Afranis tres. So 3 legions of Afrianos, due Petrii, 2 of Petrius, Praetorius. And besides, Scute, these are large shields, Citoria Provincia. Citoria is a comparative, it means the nearer. Of the nearer provinces, there were large shields, and Catrata Ulterior Spana. And so that's further Spain, there was the small shields, Catrata. Okay, so this is in addition, Praetoria, besides this. Cohorts, Curcida, LXXX. So around 80 cohorts. Curcida just means around, it's preposition. Equitumque, end of the knights, cavalry, Utriusque provincia, from either of the provinces or both the provinces. So knights of both provinces. Curcita, again, around V Milia, 5,000. Okay, so we'll have a daily dictionary word of a catratus, which means armed with a catra, the small light shield. If you want to go through all of these male and female versions of the adjectives, and even for words which can never be used, comparative and superlative. And here's a picture of them. A bronze catra shield, another bronze catra shield. Okay, so Caesar legion. So Caesar, legions in Hispania praemissit. Pre usually means in advance or in front. So Caesar sent legions into Hispania, into Spain. Auxilia peditum v milia, 5,000. We also have an alternate version, which is nullus. So if you want to go that way. And equitum 3,000. Milia is 1,000. So he sent 6 legions. He had either 5,000 or 0 of auxiliaries of the foot soldiers, the peditums, and of the knights, cavalry, he had 3,000. Quae, which omnibus superioribus bellus habuerant, which he had in omnibus bellus, in all of his wars. Superioribus means earlier or above, which he'd had with him in these earlier wars. Et and parum ex Gallia numerum, and a parum numerum means the same number. If you played golf, you know that par means equal. So he had an equal number from Gallia, which is called quem ipsi paciverit, which he himself, the ipsi, had paciverit, pacified in the perfect sense. So he got an equal number from them. Nominatum, one of our favourite adverbs of the Tim family. So name by name, literally, from omnibus civitibus, from all these city-states or cities or states, whatever you want civatibus to be. Now we're getting more specific. No, bellissimo and fortissimo, quoque evocate. So this is a little ablative absolute section. So he evocated, he called the most bravest superlative, which is fortissimus, and the most nobilis, well known or from a good family. He called them nominatum, name by name, from all of these cities or states, provinces even. Huck, into a place, huck's the place. The optime generis hominum, this looks double genitive. So the best, plural, of the races of men or the tribes of men, ex Aquitanus Montesque, from, what do you call that in English, Aquitanus, and the mountains, I might even look up what they're called, Aquitania is what it's called in English. Probably know that if you live in Europe. Qui Gallia Provincium Attingera. So he called the best types of people from this place in the mountains, who were attingerant. They were touching on this province, who obviously they were next door to it, obviously, the Gallian province, Gaul. And there's no comma here, but he iterated them, so he added them to his own number. We had a numerum up there. So audiorat. So Caesar's heard something. Pompeium, that's Pompeii. Per Mauritania, cum legionibus ita in Hispania facere. So he'd heard, which takes the infinitive, He'd heard that Pompey was facere ita. He was making a journey into Spain, through Mauritania with his legionabuses, with his legions. Confestum qui, nice little Tim adverb, and venturum means he's about to be there, he's about to come, venturum. And confestum means hastily. So he's making a journey, and hastily or shortly he would arrive there, in the place he was going to, which is in with the accusative. Simul, at the same time, a tribunus militum, from the tribunes of the soldiery, of the soldiers, centurion busqui, and the centurions, he sumsted, he took up pecunius money mutuus, on a loan. So mutuus pecunius is loaned money. As we see, it's accusative plural with the as, and the demonstrative pronoun as takes it up here, the female version. So these borrowed monies he distributed, which is the verb, dative to the exercitus, which is a fourth declension dative to the army. Quo facto, ablative absolute. With this done, consecuted es dues res. Two matters or circumstances consecuted, followed. Quod, that. Well, because pignore, which is a pledge, sometimes it means your family, but here it just probably means this pledge. He devincited, so he had conquered the animos centurium, the minds of the centurions, by this pledge. It's in the ablative, so with this pledge, or by this pledge, he conquered the minds of the centurions. And he redeemed the voluntas militum, the will of the soldiery, that's genitive, by this largesse, by this distribution of money. Fabius, nominative singular, some dude called Fabius. Finitamarum civitum, double genitive, animos. So the minds of the nearby cities or regions, literibus nontiusque, with letters and messengers or announcements, temptabat. So Fabius temptabat, he made attempts, he tested out the minds of the nearby states with letters and messengers. In secori flumen, in with the ablative, usually means by, with, or from. In actually can take a preposition or not, and in can mean on, and here it would mean over. So over the Sicoris flumen, over the Sicoris river, he effecorated. This would be Fabius. He effected, he made duos pontes, two bridges over this river. Distantes, distance, looks like a present participle or something. Amongst these two bridges which he effected, which he made, the distance was millia parsum 4. So it's 4 miles, millia parsum. Parsum means spread out. Comes from footsteps, I think. So it's like 1,000 footsteps. Anyway, so it's 4,000 feet or whatever you call it, or 4 miles was the distance between these two bridges. Here's Pontibus. So with these bridges, or by these bridges, some ablative form, pabulatum, the supine form of fodder, or to graze, he mitibated, he was sending. It's a continuous action in the past, it's imperfect. So he sent, probably over these bridges, something to get their grass or grazing. Quod ea, which this, or because this, quae citra flumen furent. Okay, citra means on this side. Because ea, the things which were furent, citra flumen on this side of the river, superior bus diabus, in the earlier days, they'd consumed ea, they consumed all there. So he sent them. When you have a verb of sending or arriving or coming and going, you can just whack in a supine there, and that is the purpose. So because they in the earlier days consumed all that which was on this side of the river, he sent across for their fodder. Is it meant to be the cavalry or something, or horses to do that, or something? So hoc, this, idem, demonstrative pronoun. So the same, ferry, it's an adverb. Sometimes you see an M in the middle of it, sometimes you don't. So this same thing, almost, ferry and firme mean almost, and idem de causa, and for the same cause or reason. Pompeianae, looks like he's made an adjective out of Pompey. The exorcists do the dukes. So the leaders, this looks genitive, then in the fourth, leaders of the army, a facament, we're doing this the same thing almost, and for the eodem cause, and for the same reason. So the leaders of Pompey's army, if you want a genitive of this adjective, cribroqui, and frequently inter se amongst themselves, the equestribus, so it was the cavalry which were being mitabated over the bridges for fodder. And frequently amongst themselves, they contend about it. They contended, they had little battles. Prolus means battle itself. So these knights were contending in little battles, crebro, frequently. I might scroll a bit here. How far are we going down to there? Huck. So this, cum quotidiane constitutine, quotidiana is daily, consuetudinine is a habit. This daily habit of congress is the two armies coming together. Pabulatoribus, to these pabulators, these people who are getting fodder. Presidio proprio ponte, looks like a ablative absolute. With a garrison at the nearer ponte, at the nearer bridge, legions Fabianae dua, it looks like 2 legions of Fabius, transisented the Flumen. Okay, so they crossed over the river at the more propria, the nearer bridges. And Presidio is like a little garrison or protection at the closer bridges. Anyway, impedimentaque, and the impedimenta, which are the baggage, et omnis equitatis sequitur. So the baggage and all of the cavalry were following. So it looks like 2 legions had crossed over the river, and the baggage and the omnis, all the rest of these cavalry were following. A subito v ventorum, with a sudden blast of wind, you might want to say, a sudden force of wind. V means force, it's in the ablative. And aqua magnitudine, and magnitude, it's like genitive of water. Magnitude just means a lot of, or the size of the water. Pons es interruptus means the bridge was broken by this sudden gust of wind and the magnitude of the water. And reliqua multitude, and the remaining multitude, equitum, genitive, of the cavalry, were interclusa. They were shut off or separated. Quo cognito, with this thing known, a petrio et afranio, this is an ablative, or from this preposition a, when these things was known by Petrius and Afrianus, ex agere and cratibus, from the agere and cratibus, which the agere is like a masses of, so here would be the remainder of the bridges, and the cratibus is like wicker work and just crap that was floating, brushwood, etc. Yeah. Quae flumine ferrabanta, which were being ferrabanted, they were being carried ablative by the river. Celerita sue ponte Afrianus. So Afrianus is the nominative. Afrianus quickly, sue ponte, to his own bridge, or with his own bridge, quam which, opido castris qui conjunctem habebat, which he had conjunctum, or joined to the town and the camp. So his own bridge was, I wouldn't say it actually joined to the town, but it sounds like it's very near the town and the camp. Legions 4, equitatum qui omnem. So 4 legions and omnes of his knights, and horses, and all of his horses, they traiucated, they crossed over his sue ponte, his own bridge. Duabus qui Fabianus occurrit, so he met here the 2 legions of Fabius. Occurrit usually takes a dative, so this could be dative here, the 2 legions, and he met them. So he had 4 legions and all his horses, and he met the 2 legions of Fabianus, or Fabian, whatever his name is. Quis adventu nuntiato. With this arrival announced in the ablative, quis of him, L. Plancus, qui legionibus priorat, who was priorat, he was in charge dative of the legions. Necessary re coactus, so Plancus was coactus, he was forced by the necessity re, by the necessity of the matter, and he capited, he took locum superior, higher ground, higher place. Diversum qui, and separated or different, aciem, so diverse line in duas parts he constituted, so he instituted or built up his 2 parts of his lines, and they were diverse. They were separated, or different places in locum superior and high ground. Nay, lest by equitatu circumvenere posset. So lest he was posset able to be, takes the infinitive, to be circumvenerated, to be surrounded by cavalry, equitatu. Ita, so thus the Congress, which is coming together, impari numero, with an unequal number in the ablative, a magnos impetus, a great impetus, a great force, legionem equitatus qui, of legions and of cavalry, he sustained, or he withstood the Congress with an unequal number of a great attack of legions and horses. Commissio ab equitibus prolio. So commissio prolio, with the battle commenced, ab equitus means by the knights, the signa legionem juarum, the standards, the signum of 2 legions, procol, far off, ab utrusque conspiciantur, were conspicued, was seen by both of them, utrusque, which, quas, C. Fabius, the ulterior ponte, the further bridge, a subsidio nostris. This could be a double dative, actually no. Anyway, as a help to us, he had sent miserat suspicatus, suspecting foray, that this would happen in forays in future. So, standards of 2 legions were far off, were seen by both, in which C. Fabius had sent miserat help to us, but on the further bridge, suspecting this would happen, quod acit, which did happen. He was suspecting in future this would happen, which actually acquited, which did happen. Ut dux adversorium, so that the leaders or the generals adversorum of the adversaries, occasion and beneficio fortune, by the occasion and the beneficial nature of the fortune, ad nostros opprimendos uterentur. So they would use, utor takes the ablative, this occasion and the goodwill of fortune to opprimendos nostris, to crush us. Taking ad here and the gerundive os there and os. Nearly done. Quarum adventu prolium dirimita ac suis utique legiones reductit in the camp, led back in the camp. So, in the adventu, at the arrival quarum, female version of these legions, the battle prolium dirimita broke up, and suis utique, so both of the 2, they reducted, they led back suis legions, their own legions in the camp.